McCahon's work opens up the landscape for everyday people to see the mysteries and see some of the beauty in our daily environment. My name's Finn McCahon-Jones. I'm one of Colin McCahon's grandchildren. I'm also a trustee on the Colin McCahon Trust. And I'm here today to talk about the new print edition of 100. We have reproduced Clouds 3 from 1975 to raise funds for our upcoming projects, especially to refresh and restore the McCahon website. A few people have asked me why Clouds 3, why this image out of any of McCahon's pictures. And I have to say, I racked my brain. I went through the website, looking at images, thinking about things. And in the end, I thought there is no one McCahon that is more McCahon than McCahon, if that makes sense. And so for me, I particularly like this period from the 70s, and how I see it is McCahon is retired. He's been working his whole life. He's gone from New Zealand's most kind of criticised artist to New Zealand's most loved artist. He's gone from being on the outside looking in to being fully on the inside. And he has finished working at the Auckland Art Gallery, he's finished teaching at Elam, and now he's retired. And he moves out to Muriwai to the Batch. And so him and Anne spend their days and their nights out there. And in these later, this black period, you see a lot of thought and existential thought, and you see him kind of thinking and being free to operate in time frames that he wants to operate in. And McCahon often would just go for walks, and the walks would take as long as they took. And he would walk from the evening as the light would change into the night and would observe these things. And so for me, the clouds is both a kind of a literal dream space where he's just spending time with the day, but also it's an allegory for life. It's based on the Stations of the Cross, which is about, it's about Christ's movements, but also it's about thinking about life, thinking about beginning, going through to the end. And at this time, McCahon has retired. He's thinking about his life, but also he's having grandchildren are being born, and the next generation is coming. So I see this as being a kind of an optimistic thing, thinking about futures and imagining ways through or around, and the numbers on the clouds. You could say you either take this path through the clouds or this path around the clouds or something like that. And so I see them as kind of very hopeful, but also I feel they're very contemporary. I love the immediacy of the brushwork and how graphic they are, the black on the white, and just seeing those kind of visceral marks, the hand of the artist on the canvas. And so ultimately I thought this was very fresh and also could be reproduced well as a print. This was working very closely with Artwright and Onehunga, Glenn and his team, and we did many iterations. An artist was visiting while I was looking at the proof, and they thought that was the original. And I thought, we've done it. And so it's not a CMYK process. It's 6 layers of archival pigment that have gone down, so layers of black. But what I find is really tricky with this is it's a lot of what your eye is mixing it. And so there's a lot of greys, there's black, and there's a tiny bit of white. But there's a majority of layers of grey that give the illusion of the white paint, like Colin intended, to thin on the black background. And so we've kept all the little spatters and things in there, and to make it feel very, very, very real. It's just the whole print is the same size as the original, and so this is just ever so slightly smaller to fit in with within the page. I project managed this, and we worked through a lot of iterations, but I'm extremely happy with the final product, and I think Colin would probably be pleasantly surprised at the technical aspects of it. Some of the private stories, I guess, coming through this print is Colin really loved kids observing things, and there was a storm coming in, and one of my cousins kind of commented they look like rocks in the sky, this kind of foreboding kind of things coming. And so there's another series as well as clouds around this idea, but equally, you know, this is games of like hopscotch. And so I see this as sort of kind of a really lovely personal work, and it's very hopeful, thinking about the future of the next generation, and thinking about starting at 1 and going through to 14, and, you know, your stages through life and how we navigate those. And I find it, I see this as him, as McCahon, really kind of thinking about life's trajectory, you know, a life lived, but a life coming. And I find that really, lovely that he's thinking generationally. And so when I see this work, I think of both freedom and space, but, you know, projected kind of well-beings and futures. I think McCahon's legacy through his painting, through his practice, opens up this country in ways that a lot of us haven't seen it. And for me, I see McCahon in the landscape when I go out there, and, you know, on my way home, or when I'm at the beach or in the hills. And that was the thing that I think for me, and think about McCahon, but also as a family legacy, is this idea of looking. And McCahon would see beauty and mystery in the banal landscape, as well as the kind of you know, extremely beautiful landscape. McCahon's work opens up the landscape for everyday people to see it in a new light, and to see some of the mysteries and see some of the beauty in our daily environment. It's great to be working with Webb's on this project. I know that Peter Webb and McCahon first met when they were working at the Auckland Art Gallery together, and so Peter Webb was McCahon's assistant. And I recently worked out they're 14 years age difference, so Peter Webb was 14 years younger, and I know that McCahon really encouraged Peter to go into the secondary market and to open things up, because at the time there were very few places for artists to sell and show, and so Webb really provided this, you know, space and an opportunity. They worked really closely together, and I know that McCahon sold prints through Webb's previously, and so it's been great. It's great to do another one. The McCahon Trust has never produced a print before, so this is an excellent opportunity to be able to get a print and support the cause. This print is made on 640 GSM cotton rag archival Lanakruel paper, and with 6 layers of archival ink, edition of 100, each signed and embossed with the McCahon Trust stamp. The McCahon Trust is making this print to help us expand on the current McCahon website, and so we are looking to bring it forward. At the moment, it's essentially just images of McCahon's practice over time, and you can drill down in simple ways. Through the sale of this print, it's going to give us funds to help us expand the content and drill down in a lot of the research that has happened since our first website has started till now, and so it's going to give a much broader and deeper understanding of McCahon's practice. One of the ideas through making this print is that we're going to make McCahon's work available to another generation of art lovers, and particularly people who are really interested in New Zealand art. And this is an excellent place to start.